Good evening, everyone. When people ask, "How old are you?" they are usually trying to measure your limits. Too young to lead, too old to start, too late to try, too early to dream. But let me tell you something very important. Age is just a number people use when they are afraid. Success does not check your birth certificate. It checks your courage. Today I want to share with you a simple truth. Success has no age. It is not reserved for the young. It is not owned by the experienced. It belongs to those who refuse to stop learning, growing, and believing. Let me share 5 key lessons that prove this. Many people believe dreams have a deadline. If you don't succeed by 25, you panic. If you're not stable by 30, you feel behind. If you're 40 or 50 and starting over, people whisper. But dreams don't expire. Only courage does. From the time we are children, society quietly gives us a timetable. Graduate by this age. Build a career by that age. Achieve success before a certain number appears on your birthday cake. And if you miss one of those invisible deadlines, you begin to question yourself. You look at your classmates, your colleagues, your neighbors. You scroll through social media and see highlight reels of other people's victories. Promotions at 28, startups at 22, retirement plans at 35. Suddenly, your dream feels late. But who created this timeline? Nature did not. History did not. Human potential certainly did not. The truth is, life is not a race on a straight track. It is a journey across different terrains. Some people start on smooth roads. Others begin on rocky mountains. Some inherit advantages. Others must build everything from zero. Comparing timelines without understanding journeys is like comparing apples and oceans. Look at Colonel Sanders. Before Kentucky Fried Chicken became a global brand, he faced rejection after rejection. It is said he knocked on over 1,000 doors trying to franchise his chicken recipe. Imagine that. Most people cannot handle 10 rejections. He faced hundreds, and he was not 25, he was 65 years old. At 65, many people believe their story is ending. He believed his story was beginning. Think about the emotional strength required for that. To be in your 60s, with limited resources, after multiple failures, and still say, "I will try again." That is not youth. That is courage. That is conviction. That is a dream refusing to die. On the other side of the spectrum, consider Malala Yousafzai. At 17, she became the youngest Nobel Prize laureate. She did not say, "I am too young, I need more experience." She saw injustice and chose to act. Her age did not limit her voice. Her mission amplified it. What do these two individuals have in common? One was 65, the other was 17. Different cultures, different challenges, different paths. But the same principle. They did not allow age to define possibility. We often confuse readiness with age. We think, when I am older, I will be ready. Or, if I were younger, I would have more time. But readiness does not come from years. It comes from decision. A 22-year-old who takes responsibility is more ready than a 45-year-old who keeps making excuses. A 60-year-old who is willing to learn new skills is more prepared than a 30-year-old who refuses to adapt. The real expiration date is not on your dream, it is on your willingness to continue. Science supports this idea. Studies in neuroscience show that the brain retains its ability to form new connections, called neuroplasticity, well into older adulthood. That means you can learn, adapt, and reinvent yourself at almost any age. Your mind is not shutting down at 30. It is evolving. The question is, are you? Many of the world's most successful entrepreneurs started later in life. Research from institutions like the U.S. Census Bureau has shown that the average age of successful startup founders is in their 40s. Why? Because experience matters. Emotional intelligence matters. Networks matters. These are assets that often grow stronger with time. So why do we panic? Because we are afraid of being judged, afraid of being behind, afraid of looking foolish while others seem ahead. But here is the truth. The only person truly measuring your timeline is you. If you are 24 and still figuring things out, good. You are exploring. If you are 35 and changing careers, good. You are evolving. If you are 50 and launching your first business, good. You are courageous. Dreams are not milk. They do not spoil with time. Sometimes they mature. Sometimes the dream you had at 20 is too small for who you become at 40. Sometimes life shapes you, strengthens you, prepares you for something bigger than you originally imagined. Delays are not always denials. They are often preparation. The clock is not your enemy. Fear is. Fear tells you that it is too late. Fear tells you that you have missed your chance. Fear tells you that people will laugh, but people will talk whether you try or not. The only difference is this: if you try, you give yourself a chance. If you quit, you guarantee regret. So do not ask, am I too old? Do not ask, am I too young? Ask instead, am I willing? Because the world does not reward age. It rewards value. It rewards persistence. It rewards those who refuse to let their dreams expire, no matter what the calendar says. Many young people fear failing early. Many older people fear failing publicly. We have been conditioned to see failure as a final verdict, as a mark that we are not good enough, or worse, that we are too late. Yet failure is not a sign of limitation. It is a sign of life, of courage, of stepping into the arena where the outcome is uncertain. The real tragedy is not failing. It is failing to try, failing to learn, failing to let failure teach you. Failure does not discriminate by age. It is not a young person's curse, nor an older person's shame. It is a growth process that shapes those willing to endure it. Look at J.K. Rowling, for example. Before she became one of the most successful authors in the world, she was a single mother living on welfare, scraping by month to month. Her dream of publishing Harry Potter was met with constant rejection. 12 publishers turned her down. 12 times she could have said, maybe I am not cut out for this. Maybe I am too late. Maybe I am too inexperienced. But instead, she said, maybe I need to try again. Her persistence transformed failure into the foundation for success. Every rejection became a lesson, a refinement, a small step toward the world she imagined. Her story teaches us that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of the journey, and age had nothing to do with it. Determination had everything to do with it. Research supports what stories like hers demonstrate. Data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that most successful businesses are founded by people in their 40s rather than their 20s. People often assume youth equals advantage. They assume energy and audacity are enough. But energy without experience is like fuel. Without an engine, it has potential, but it cannot move forward effectively. Experience compounds. Wisdom compounds. Failure at 20 can teach courage, but failure at 40 teaches perspective, and failure at 60 teaches humility. Each stage of life brings different lessons, and each lesson is a building block towards success. When you are young and fail, the world may feel like it is ending. Your first job, your first pitch, your first venture. Each failure cuts deep. But in that stage, failure teaches courage. It teaches you to stand again, to take risks, and to embrace discomfort. It reminds you that even if you fall, the fall is not permanent unless you choose to give up. These early failures build the spine of resilience that you will carry into the rest of your life. They give you the audacity to dream bigger because you have experienced the sting and survived it. When you are in your 30s or 40s, failure teaches perspective. By now, you have accumulated experience, relationships, and knowledge. When a venture fails, it does not shatter you. It informs you. It reveals flaws in planning, gaps in understanding, and areas that need attention. You no longer fail in ignorance. You fail with insight. You understand that success is rarely immediate, and that each failure is not a setback, but a detour toward improvement. At this stage, failure refines your decision-making, tempers your expectations, and strengthens your judgment. It gives you the ability to see the big picture while learning from the smallest mistakes. In later stages of life, failure teaches humility. When you have decades of experience behind you, failures become lessons in empathy and perspective. They remind you that no one is infallible, that achievements are never permanent, and that wisdom is not the absence of mistakes, but the understanding that mistakes are inevitable. At this point, failure does not discourage you. Instead, it deepens your insight into human nature, business, and life. It teaches patience, compassion, and humility, the qualities that allow you to lead with integrity and impact. Failure is powerful not because it punishes, but because it teaches, shapes, and strengthens. Every stage of life provides unique insights, and every failure carries a lesson if you are willing to look for it. The young learn to be bold, the experienced learn to be thoughtful, the seasoned learn to be humble. In each phase, failure is the invisible mentor guiding you toward growth, toward resilience, toward a version of yourself capable of achieving the dreams that might have seemed impossible. We fear failure because it is uncomfortable. We fear judgment, shame, and uncertainty. But the most successful people in the world, from entrepreneurs to artists, scientists to leaders, have one trait in common. They treat failure not as an endpoint, but as a stepping stone. They understand that every rejection, every mistake, every setback is a part of the process. They understand that growth is not linear, that progress often comes disguised as struggle, and that the value of experience is measured not by the absence of failure, but by the wisdom gained from it. Failure at any age is a teacher, but only if you are willing to be a student. When you embrace failure, you gain courage, perspective, and humility. You gain the ability to rise again, stronger than before. Age is irrelevant. What matters is your willingness to face failure, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Society likes straight lines. From a young age, we are taught to follow a predictable path, study hard, get good grades, get a job, build a career, retire comfortably. We are told that deviation from this line is risky, unwise, or even irresponsible. And yet, life rarely respects straight lines. Success is not a linear trajectory. It is more like a mountain path, twisting and turning, sometimes looping backward before leaping forward. Along this path, the ability to reinvent yourself is not just an advantage, it is a necessity. The world changes, industries evolve, opportunities emerge where none existed before. Those who cling too rigidly to a single identity, a single skill, or a single vision of their life often find themselves left behind. Reinvention is the lifeline that keeps us moving forward. Take Vera Wang as an example. Before becoming the global fashion icon we know today, she was a competitive figure skater and then a journalist. She never started in fashion, and yet at the age of 40, a time when many people feel their best years are behind them, she made a bold decision to pivot entirely, following a passion that had always been simmering beneath the surface. Her journey was not easy. She had to start from scratch, learn new skills, navigate a new industry, and face people who doubted her. But her willingness to embrace the role of a beginner, to accept the discomfort of starting over, allowed her to transform not just her career, but her entire life. Reinvention is rarely comfortable. It demands humility, patience, and the courage to admit that you do not have all the answers. It asks you to shed old labels and embrace uncertainty, and that is difficult, yet difficulty is the price of relevance. Look around at the world of business and technology. Companies that refuse to adapt disappear. Kodak, once the king of photography, failed to reinvent itself in the digital era and paid the ultimate price. Blockbuster ignored the rise of streaming, while Netflix pivoted and became dominant. Individuals are no different. Life will keep moving forward and the world will not wait for us to catch up. Learning, adapting, and evolving is the only anti-aging medicine for success. Skills become outdated. Industries transform. Markets shift. But a mind willing to learn, a spirit willing to change, and a heart willing to risk failure remain timeless. Imagine you are 50 and deciding to learn digital skills, coding, design, social media, or data analysis. You might feel hesitant, wondering if it is too late. But it is not late. You are not behind. You are brave. You are demonstrating the most valuable quality for the modern world, adaptability. Similarly, if you are 22 and learning patience, leadership, or emotional intelligence, you might feel slow, like you are behind your peers. But you are not slow. You are building depth, creating a foundation that will carry you further than raw speed ever could. Reinvention is not about racing against others. It is about continuously refining who you are, expanding your capabilities, and ensuring that you remain relevant in a world that is constantly evolving. Reinvention also teaches perspective. When you start over, you begin to understand what truly matters. You shed unnecessary ego and pride. You recognize that past titles, credentials, or achievements do not define your worth. Instead, your value is measured by your ability to learn, adapt, and contribute in the present moment. Every time you reinvent yourself, you rediscover resilience. Every time you embrace being a beginner again, you cultivate humility. Every time you dare to change direction, you claim freedom over your own life. History is full of examples of people who reinvented themselves at stages when most would have given up. Samuel L. Jackson, one of the most recognized actors in the world, did not get his big break until he was in his 40s. Martha Stewart transitioned from modeling to catering to building a media empire. Steve Jobs returned to Apple in his 40s, reshaping the company and the entire tech industry. Their stories are proof that reinvention is not a limitation of age. It is a declaration of intent. It says, I refuse to settle. I refuse to be defined by the past. I choose to keep moving forward. Reinvention keeps you relevant not only in your career but in your life. It keeps your mind sharp, your spirit engaged, and your purpose alive. It allows you to meet the future not with fear, but with readiness. It teaches you that life is not about reaching a fixed destination, but about embracing the journey wherever it may lead. Each pivot, each new skill, each attempt at starting over is an investment, not just in success, but in the kind of life where you are awake, aware, and continuously growing. So whether you are stepping into a completely new industry at 50, pursuing a long-held passion at 35, or learning the subtleties of patience and emotional intelligence at 22, reinvention is proof that it is never too late to begin again. It is proof that you are alive, that your potential is not fixed, and that your story is far from over. Success is not measured by how early you start, but by how willing you are to keep evolving. Reinvention ensures that no matter your age, no matter your past, you remain relevant, capable, and unstoppable. People often confuse youth with energy. They assume that being young automatically means having vitality, drive, and enthusiasm for life. But energy is not dictated by the number of candles on your birthday cake. I have met 25-year-olds who are already exhausted by life, weighed down by comparison, fear, and pressure. Their excitement for possibilities has been worn away by doubt or by the relentless pursuit of someone else's idea of success. And I have met 70-year-olds who wake up every morning with a spark in their eyes, eager to create, to contribute, to learn something new. The difference is not age, it is purpose. Energy flows from meaning. Energy flows from having a mission that excites you, challenges you, and makes you feel alive. Youth may give you physical stamina, but purpose gives you limitless energy. When your actions are driven by a cause bigger than yourself, your body can endure more, your mind can focus longer, and your spirit can sustain challenges that would otherwise feel overwhelming. That is why some of the most accomplished individuals in history achieved their greatest feats later in life. Take Morgan Freeman as an example. For decades, he worked in small roles, learning his craft quietly, without the recognition he deserved. Many would have become discouraged. Many would have felt that age was limiting their potential. But Freeman's energy never waned because it was fueled not by youth or opportunity alone, but by his persistence, his passion for acting, and his purpose to tell stories that matter. By the time he was widely recognized in his 50s, he had built a reservoir of skill, wisdom, and resilience that allowed him to shine. His age did not hinder him. It enhanced him. Energy also comes from the understanding that your life has meaning beyond yourself. When you have a mission bigger than yourself, you stop counting years. You stop obsessing over whether you're young enough, old enough, early enough, or late enough. Instead, you start measuring your life by impact. How many lives you can touch, how many problems you can solve, how much good you can bring into the world. Consider someone dedicating their energy to education in underserved communities, or creating art that inspires millions, or innovating technology that improves healthcare. These people are not motivated by age, they are motivated by purpose. And that purpose gives them a kind of energy that transcends physical limits and social expectations. Ask yourself, what problem do I want to solve? Whose life do I want to improve? If you can answer these questions clearly, you will find that age suddenly becomes irrelevant. You no longer measure your capacity by how many years you have lived, but by how much energy you are willing to pour into the work that matters. Energy is not a commodity that diminishes over time. It is a renewable resource when you are connected to meaning. It is also important to recognize that energy is contagious. When you approach life with enthusiasm, resilience, and curiosity, you inspire those around you. Young or old, people are drawn to energy because it signals capability, commitment, and hope. Think of mentors who wake up excited to teach, entrepreneurs who start new ventures at an age when many retire, or activists who fight for justice despite decades of obstacles. Their energy is a beacon, not defined by age, but by the clarity of their purpose. Many people get trapped in the wrong measurement. They ask, "How old am I?" instead of, "How useful am I?" They fear that their years define their limits. But the truth is, energy, drive, and motivation come from the clarity of your mission. The question to focus on is not your birth date. The question is, what difference are you trying to make? How committed are you to using your gifts, skills, and knowledge to impact others? When you shift your focus from counting years to counting impact, you unlock a source of energy that is far more powerful than youth alone. Even physical energy, the kind we associate with age, is deeply influenced by mental and emotional energy. Purpose strengthens your focus, your resilience, and your stamina. It helps you rise early, work late, persist through challenges, and recover quickly from setbacks. It motivates you to maintain your health, your mind, and your skills, because you recognize that every day is an opportunity to make a difference. Age may change your body, but it cannot diminish the energy born from a life that matters. Energy is a choice, a commitment, and a reflection of what you value most. It is not the sum of your years, but the sum of your pose. When you align yourself with a mission, you feel alive in ways that youth alone cannot guarantee. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop measuring yourself against timelines or calendars. You measure yourself by the energy you invest and the impact you create. And when you do this, you realize that energy, like purpose, has no age. It belongs to those who choose to live fully, courageously, and meaningfully every single day. Comparison is the thief of confidence. It quietly creeps into our thoughts, often disguised as motivation, but it rarely serves us well. We scroll through social media feeds and see friends graduating early, starting businesses, buying homes, traveling the world, winning awards, or achieving milestones we once thought we'd reach by now. We begin to measure our lives against these snapshots, these highlight reels, forgetting that each person's journey is unique, shaped by circumstances, opportunities, failures, and choices we cannot always see. The problem is that we start to believe that timing defines success, that if we haven't achieved a certain thing by a certain age, we are somehow behind. But success is not a race. It is not about being ahead or behind someone else on a timeline. True success is a responsibility, a commitment to grow, to become better than you were yesterday, and to honor the potential that is uniquely yours. Nature often provides the best lessons about patience, growth, and timing. Consider bamboo, one of the most remarkable plants on Earth. Certain species of bamboo spend the first 5 years of their life growing roots underground. Above the soil, nothing seems to happen. There is no visible growth. To an observer, it may look as if the plant is dormant, stagnant, or even failing. And yet, during those 5 years, it is laying an incredibly strong foundation, establishing a root system that can support a astonishing growth. Then, almost suddenly, it shoots up, sometimes growing several feet in a single day. Was the time spent underground wasted? Absolutely not. It was preparation. The unseen work, the quiet effort, the roots building strength. These are the elements that made its eventual success possible. Human growth works in much the same way. Maybe you are in your root building phase. Maybe the efforts, struggles, and lessons you are experiencing now are invisible to the world. Your friends may seem to be leaping forward while you feel as though you are stuck in place. But often, this is when you are learning the skills, gaining the experience, and cultivating the resilience that will allow you to rise faster and higher than you imagined. Every challenge, every setback, every moment of uncertainty is strengthening your foundation. Each failure teaches lessons you cannot learn from success alone. Each small victory compounds over time. Even when you cannot see the growth above ground, know that something profound is happening below the surface, shaping who you are and who you will become. Many people misunderstand success because they focus only on what is visible: a promotion, a new business, a public recognition. These are the obvious markers of success, but they are not the whole story. Real growth happens internally first. It happens in the discipline you develop, the patience you cultivate, the knowledge you acquire, and the relationships you nurture. It happens when you continue to try, even when the outcome is uncertain. It is about improving your capacity, expanding your vision, and refining your character. This invisible work, like the roots of the bamboo, is what sustains you when your moment of rapid growth arrives. Trusting the process is one of the hardest yet most critical aspects of growth. We live in a culture obsessed with instant gratification, CK results, and measurable achievements. Yet life does not work in perfectly timed increments. Success does not follow a calendar or obey a social timetable. Your journey will unfold in a rhythm that is unique to you. Sometimes growth is rapid and visible, other times slow and almost imperceptible. But every moment contributes to the whole of who you are becoming. Trust that the effort, focus, and perseverance you put in now are not wasted simply because you cannot see the results yet. It is also essential to recognize that visible success often comes after years of preparation, effort, and unseen work. Many of the world's most renowned innovators, artists, and leaders spent decades building their skills, learning their craft, and refining their vision before achieving recognition. They did not follow the timelines that society expected, yet they achieved profound impact because they invested in growth first. Their stories remind us that the journey is not defined by speed or public approval, but by commitment, consistency, and faith in the process. Instead of asking, "Am I late?" start asking, "Am I learning? Am I growing? Am I becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable than I was yesterday?" When you focus on growth rather than timing, you reclaim control over your own life. You stop measuring your worth against the achievements of others and start measuring it against your own potential. You begin to see that every experience, whether it feels like success or failure, contributes to your development. Trust the process. Trust that the invisible work you do today, every lesson learned, every skill developed, every failure endured, is building a foundation for the future you. Trust that growth, not timing, is the true measure of success. Your journey is unique. Your roots are forming. One day, in a moment that may surprise you, you will shoot upward with strength and resilience. And all the preparation that felt hidden, slow, or unnoticed will reveal itself as the reason for your unstoppable rise. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to remember one simple truth: success has no age. It does not wait for the young, nor does it avoid the experienced. It comes to those who dare, to those who persist, and to those who refuse to let fear, doubt, or timelines define their potential. Your age does not limit your dreams. Your failures do not define your worth. Your past does not determine your future. What matters is courage, purpose, energy, and the willingness to grow every single day. Whether you are 17, 40, or 70, the opportunity to start, to restart, to reinvent, and to make an impact is alive within you right now. So stop counting years. Start counting impact. Stop waiting for the right time. Begin today. Build your roots. Embrace your failures. Follow your purpose, and invest in growth. The world does not measure you by your age. It measures you by your persistence, your vision, and the difference you make. Go forward with courage. Go forward with energy. Go forward knowing that your story is far from over, and the best chapters are yet to be written. Success has no age, but regret does. Make sure your life is filled with dreams pursued, lessons learned, and a legacy that speaks louder than any number on a birthday cake. The time is now. Your age is only a number. Your potential is limitless. Your journey is just beginning.